Hello, and welcome to one of my favorite places to record, / the only place I really record my booktube videos, which is my bedroom. I feel like this has kind of turned into the running joke of the incessant bookworm on booktube, but I'm just gonna roll with it. I have a new ring light coming in the mail, hopefully on Friday. So once I get that, I hope to play around with it a little bit, and maybe that can help me get into a different space of my apartment and feel more comfortable. But like I said, we're just gonna roll with what we got. So today's video is focusing on flipping the narrative a little bit. So I recently picked up Midnight Sun by Stephenie Meyer. So this is the Twilight retelling in Edward's perspective, and very shiny, there you go. And I was thinking about this, about how it would be cool if other stories kind of did the same thing, and really looked at what are some of my favorite stories that I can show you all that would be interesting to kind of flip and see it from somebody else's perspective. So I haven't finished Midnight Sun yet, but I have read the Twilight series. But it's funny because it's like this anticipation with the story, even though you know what's going to happen if you've read Twilight, but it's still kind of cool to see how things come to be, what the different thoughts were going through the character's mind as they go through events and instances that we remember in the other person's kind of thought processes, so Bella in this case. So I thought, why not try to do that with other books? So today I'm going to share with you 4 books that I like to see in the other character's perspective. First book I have is Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, and yes, this is the film cover. I'm so sorry, but I mean, they're nice people to look at, so why not? So this tells the story of Louisa Clark, or Lou, and she is a really cool girl. She has a unique sense of style, but she really doesn't know what she wants out of life or what she's doing with her career. She has a steady boyfriend, not really going anywhere with that, and she loses her job and needs another one, and comes into Will Traynor, who's this guy on the front cover, into his life, since he is a quadriplegic who needs a caretaker because his parents wanted to hire one for him. So we go throughout the story. They hate each other to begin with. They don't understand each other, and something happens, and then they start kind of talking more, getting to know each other, and Louisa comes up with this plan because Will eventually wants to end his own life and go to Switzerland and have euthanasia or assisted suicide done to him, because he doesn't see the meaning to keeping to live if he is suffering so much. So it's her kind of mission that she puts on herself to save him by doing really cool things that he can do as a quadriplegic and she can do with him. So it is told in Louisa's perspective, but I thought it could be interesting because euthanasia, I know, is a big topic that people talk about or know a little bit more about. So I thought it'd be interesting to learn in Will's perspective kind of what thought process he has going on. I'm sure just based off of his decisions as he goes throughout the story that they aren't easy, but they might be sad, might be some really bad mental health kind of things going on. I'm not sure, so it could be a little bit morbid, but I don't know. I think it could be interesting to see what his perspective on life is and how this woman that comes into his life, what he thinks about with her and what his ultimate decision is and why. The next book up is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. So this was my first John Green book. He tends to write a lot of young adult literature set in the Indianapolis area. So fun fact, there is a part in this book where they go to the Indianapolis Museum or Museum of Art or something like that, and they see the Bones exhibit outside. And I went there on a Labor Day trip, coincidentally, which is coming up in a few weeks here in the United States, and saw the exhibit myself, and I thought that was kind of cool to see, like a literary nod. So there's that. Anyway, we follow Hazel as she is going through this cancer support group because she is a teenager with cancer of the lungs and kind of just affects her breathing. And she meets this character, Augustus Waters, who is in remission, and his leg had to be removed because of his cancer that he had. So we go through the story of them learning more about each other. Now that I'm thinking about this, I chose a lot of morbid or like health related books to get the other perspective on, but I don't know. I don't know if that has anything to do with the times we're in. We're just gonna go with it. Anyhow, we follow them as they go on different adventures, fall in love, and we learn of other things that happen that are not so great. So it is told in Hazel's perspective, but I thought it would be great to learn more about Gus, or Augustus's perspective, as he is around Hazel, and they're two very different people, but they have such passion, and it's cool to have them share their love of reading. They exchange books in the beginning, so that I thought would be pretty cool to hear more about his life and what he thinks of his relationship with Hazel and about the cancer support group and cancer in general. Next up, we have Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon, and this follows Maddie as she is basically under house arrest, but more because of medical reasons. So she has this disease that she can't really go outside because she'll be affected negatively by the air, by just like germs from other people. Sounding kind of eerily familiar, but whatever. But she is meets a new neighbor that moves in next door, and they communicate through their windows. They text, they write on their windows, write notes and things like that. And this gentleman's name is Ollie, also her age. So it's the summertime, so not quite school yet. So they get to know each other and kind of communicate via technology until one day he is invited inside, unbeknownst to her mom. So that kind of starts off this interesting relationship about he's kind of living his life on the outside, she's on the inside, but we only see it through her perspective. But on the flip side, what is that like for Ollie, where he is falling in love with this girl who's not able to leave her home when he can experience so much more to quote unquote life outside those walls. So I thought that could be kind of interesting to get his perspective. Last but not least is Verity by Colleen Hoover, and this was a story I finished in a day, or actually less than a day. It was during the, I believe it was the Dewey's 24-hour readathon, and this was the first book I picked, so it's pretty thin, but this, whew, what a doozy. This is quite unlike her Colleen Hoover style with other types of books. She does a lot of contemporary romance, but this was kind of psychological thriller based. So we follow Lowen, who gets this gig at this guy's house, and we find that his wife is basically kind of, I don't know, like kind of incapacitated, not quite a coma, but just not able to function, and just like lays in bed all day with no abilities to speak or move or anything like that. So we follow in Lowen's perspective, like I was mentioning, and how she's kind of creeped out by what's going on in this house when the guy's not there. And then we learn a little bit more about Verity, who is the wife and the namesake of the book, throughout, but it's kind of because of Lowen's scared of her or thinks she's seeing things. And if you know the plot of this book and know how it ends, Verity's mind would be super interesting to see. But I think that, again, that kind of gets rid of the point of why the book was written in the first place for Lowen. But after reading it the first time through, and you kind of can expect what's going to happen, seeing it in Verity's view could be super interesting. So we shall see. Anyway, those are all 4 books that I picked that would be cool to see other perspectives. I realized they were all females to start with, and either go to another female or to a male. So I tried to find some books around here with male to female kind of perspectives, but I guess that just shows what kind of books I have, or which ones I haven't read yet, because I have a huge TBR pile. So that's that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on some of the books I picked. Do you like the concept of reading another perspective from a character that wasn't the main character, or what we heard or seen with their thoughts? Let me know. I'd be interested to hear what y'all have to think and to say. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. You can comment below and ask me anything you would like, or just comment about some of the books that you've read that has that kind of theme or scenario going on where it's taking place in a different character's mind. I'm not too familiar with that style happening too much, but I'd love to know more. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more of these videos and my face in this room, feel free to hit subscribe, where I can send you videos all the time. Like I said, I'm getting a new ring light. Hopefully I can get out of this bedroom, or maybe just a different angle of this bedroom. That would be fun too, but you know, if something works, you should probably stick with it. Anyway, have a great rest of your day and happy reading.